chair. Is everybody okay with that order?
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Awesome.
Given that order, Angie, how much time would you like the employee Indy piece that also encompasses WorkOne to take? I want to be mindful of time.
Is 5 minutes too much, or how much time do you need?
For the presentation overview, probably a little, and I apologize. I think that our communications team, they had asked me to do a demo of the system.
Okay.
So that would be a little longer, but
That's fine. So we have an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're going to get started here in about 3 minutes and see if we can get how many other people log on. Angelina, do you think that's okay? I'm sorry. As far as their time for them. You're muted, Angela.
Yeah, that's fine. I started the recording, so the session is now being recorded.
Okay. Let's see if we get a couple more people to sign on.
So if I may ask, who are the fellow MidNorth families in here, along with my family?
Oh, you guys can introduce yourselves.
Yeah, Diane Montgomery. I'm in the historic Watson Park area. My daughter is Anna Montgomery. She's been in the program for several years now. She's a senior at Butler.
Nice. Yeah.
Desiree or Celeste, you guys want to, or Amy? Angelina is also a MidNorth family too, as well as
I can see it. Celeste Bowie and
Randall Tishner.
Thank you for doing this today.
You're welcome, Celeste. Hey, Randall.
Live.
Hey, Amy, was that you waving?
It is, yeah. So my family is in the Mapleton Fall Creek neighborhood, and we are fairly new to the program. We've been in, I guess, about a year now. And if my camera goes off, it is because we are trying to get 4 kids out the door to soccer practice, and I'm helping put on cleats and soccer knee guards and all that good stuff. Oh, sorry.
And then I see Desiree and Tyler. I see Tyler's T and Desiree's name there. So
Great.
Okay, so we'll get started. First of all, thank you guys for joining us. This is a new, logistically, it's new for us because we have previously always did our workshops on Thursdays, and we will continue to do them the 3rd Thursday of the month, but we are now adding Tuesdays for special opportunities to do workshops. So tonight our workshop is dedicated to employment. We do realize that because of COVID, a lot of things have changed. Not just here locally, but around the country. And people have found themselves either out of work or working from home, or just their situation has just changed overall. So we want to, as the Children's Museum of Indianapolis, make sure that we're supporting our families that we work with in their efforts to continue to keep their jobs, advance their careers in education, and basically just do as much as we can. So most of you know the CI team, which is myself, Angelina Moore, and Kelsey Hambleton from the Children's Museum. I'll quickly introduce our panel. Tonight we have Jennifer and Raul from Employ Indy. We have David Plasterer, who is also a MidNorth program participant, and he works for Fathers and Families. And then Mary Vale is our own recruiter from the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. So we're going to start with Jennifer, and I'll let her take it away.
Great. Thanks so much, Angie. And it's so nice to meet everyone, see and hear you. So I'm really glad to be on tonight. Can you see my screen and the PowerPoint image in the background?
Yes.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yep.
Just briefly to share a little bit about me personally, my name's Jennifer Waldy. I've been at Employ Indy coming up on 4 years. My background, I started out in the motorsports industry here in Indy, which I am a big race fan. And I was laid off when sponsorship left that race team. So I've personally experienced the process of collecting unemployment and filling out required documentation of job searching while seeking my next position. My background involves career advising and program management at Butler University, which I believe, based on the geographic area, is within the MidNorth Promise Zone. So that area is near and dear to my heart. And then I transitioned into HR and have been an Employ Indy for a few years. And so I'm really excited to talk about a new platform that we just launched actually 2 weeks ago today. Today's our 2-week anniversary. So it's hot off the press. And so I'm going to show you just a few key items to this new platform, and then happy to answer questions later on, but also certainly want to allow time for my colleague Raul to share a little bit about WorkOne Indy, and then the panelists from Fathers and Families and the Children's Museum. As Angie mentioned at the beginning, I think we all know that the job market, or I should say the employment market, has been drastically impacted in the past few months as a result of the pandemic. And we, as a city, have been working across multiple partners. I'll show you a slide with a few of those partners so you can get a sense. Just so you can get a sense of all of the partners that have been behind this particular platform. So this is certainly not an Employ Indy only solution. It was, we were charged with kind of creating this by the mayor, and it will be around for the long haul. But these are some of the great partners that helped us create this platform. And I'm going to move this again, sorry. So a little bit on the vision and the mission of this platform. I'm not going to read it word for word, but you can basically see that our goal in launching this is to have kind of a coordinated effort to do a better job of matching job seekers and employers that need jobs filled. One of the greatest myths out there right now is that there's no jobs, and that's not the case. There are a lot of open opportunities. Granted, they may have changed a little bit due to industry and implications from the pandemic, but there are a wide range of opportunities still out there and people getting hired each day. And so this kind of highlights the vision and the mission. We're working closely with our friends and partners at Ascend, and we're actually using their platform that matches job seekers to employment opportunities. What I really want to show you next, and so I apologize, I'm going to bounce through a few slides, is what the user journey looks like for this platform. There are a ton of benefits to both employers and job seekers. I might touch on those a little later, but right now I want to show you how we're routing job seekers so that you can have a better sense for yourself, maybe for your family members, friends, or if you're an employer, maybe for your organization if you're interested in joining the platform. I should mention it's free as well. That should have been my main thing. Okay, let me move this. Great. As this slide populates, I'm hoping that you can see the user journey. And so this platform is for all residents in Marion County seeking employment in Marion County, as well as those who might not live in Indianapolis but are looking to work here. Some examples might be those folks that live in Greenwood, Avon, Carmel, but seeking employment in Marion County. But right now we are focused primarily on Indianapolis. And so what happens for the job seeker or the candidate is they create a login All that's needed is an email address for that piece. They then create a few education questions. At that point, we ask the job seeker to answer some questions about their work readiness to really better determine where to route them. And I can share some numbers later on too of where we're seeing trends. It's only 2 weeks old data, but we're starting to see some trends. If the job seeker is able to upload a PDF resume, that's one of the requirements. And as we know, a lot of employers require a resume for whether entry-level job all the way up. So we do require a resume for this platform. If they do upload a resume, they then become what we call a work-ready job seeker. They are then invited to meet with a recruiter, and it can be a recruiter from either Employee Indy or Ascend. Ascend is working with job seekers that are looking for internships or recent college grads. Employee Indy is working with everyone else on the spectrum, just to give you a sense. So we have a wide range of ages and stages of careers that we're working with. The job seeker is invited to do a one-on-one personal 30-minute interview with a recruiter. They are asked the same questions, so it's a very consistent and equitable process. At that point, if the job seeker is deemed job ready and provides thoughtful and appropriate, I should say, responses, they are invited to publish a profile. Once their profile is published, they actually get matched to different jobs of employers that have been vetted. I want to point out briefly, in case that's not necessarily where you or others find yourself right now, that there's also an option if someone is not necessarily work ready or does not have a high school diploma. At that point, they get routed to our friends, at WorkOne Indy to do some career services and coaching assistance and different supports, or they can get routed to, if they're a youth, to a program we call YES. It's the Youth Employment System here in Indianapolis. And I'll just highlight a few more slides for the sake of time, but I wanted to show you what it looks like. So this is the page. You can enter the page from the Employee Indy website. You see our logo down here. As I mentioned, we're using the Ascend software. You sign up with an email and password that you create. You answer a few questions, name, obviously contact information so that we can get in touch with you. At that point, as I mentioned, if the candidate uploads a resume, they meet with a recruiter at either Ascend or Employee Indy. And just briefly, I'll show you what the candidate gets once they are welcomed to the network. Up here in this left-hand side is just a quote from, it looks like a recent, or a college student that got an internship, but specific, and that's just kind of a bit of marketing, but specifically this role matches. So when this candidate created a profile, these different role matches came up for them. So they're immediately seeing vetted and relevant opportunities, which we think is a real win. And that's kind of the difference of this platform versus like a LinkedIn or Indeed. Number one, it's local, so it's specific to Indianapolis. And number two, it's vetted employers as well as vetted candidates. So again, it's a win-win for both sides. The job seeker can then scroll through and learn more about the position and see if they are a skills match, if they are a work style match, and if they're a fit. There's specific questions that are asked around those. They can also research employers. They can learn about the different departments within an employer. Oh, pardon me? Oh, sorry. Briefly, they can also research and learn more about the employer. The goal of this platform was to make job postings and job descriptions more engaging and user-friendly, easy to understand, perhaps also a bit more concise and brief, and also include some pictures and some engaging graphics. So this is just a quick highlight of what that looks like. Once a job seeker clicks on a title, they can actually log in and see if anyone, some different skills and expertise areas that are required to see if they have those as well. I mentioned earlier kind of that skills match. I kind of want to pause there for the sake of time. I could keep going because it's a really exciting platform. And there's also an employer backend that might be nice for different employer partners if they want to post positions on this site. But the final piece I'd like to show from Employee Indy before I transition to WorkOne Indy is the page. Oops. And here it is. Perfect. So if you come to the Employee Indy website, you'll see at the top, rapid reemployment response. And if you click on that, this page will pop up with, there's a big graphic at the top, and then all this text will pop up. And it shows you how to get connected in just a few easy steps. Again, creating a login, answering a few short questions, and then you get personalized support for your job search. I do want to mention on the same website, if you're an employer and you're interested in posting on the platform, you can come to the same website and click the button that says Contact Us, and you'll be immediately put in touch with an employer team that can help you get positions posted on this site. And we help you, it's my colleagues, but they help employers kind of streamline their descriptions and create their user-friendly employer page. So I apologize, I probably went over a few minutes, but I'd like to transition now to my colleague Raul, especially because I mentioned in some cases, job seekers mention that they'd like a little bit more career support before joining the network, or they don't have a resume, and a great tool for them is to get connected to WorkOne. So Raul, with that, I think I'll turn it over to you if that's okay.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'm gonna see if I can try to share my screen.
Okay,
so
yeah, then I'll stop.
Let me see right here where I am. I'm supposed to be. Let me see
here, I'll stop sharing and see if.
Does everybody can see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Again, my name is Raul Reyes, and currently I'm a skilled training manager with Employee Indy. I've been in the field for the workforce development services since 2004, being in the beginning as an employment specialist, and recently I just got my certification to be a CWPD, that stands for Certified Workforce Development Professional. And I got my bachelor's degree in business from Indiana University East. Currently, I'm located at the WorkOne office, as Jennifer was mentioning. The good thing in WorkOne is that we have so many resources for the community. One of the things that we do is that a person that comes to WorkOne can receive personal assistance for a career navigator, which is equal to a case manager. We have different job search tools. We have career readiness tips, information on employability skills that is very important on this market, or on these days per se. We have workshops, adult education opportunities, and also veteran services. And I'm gonna explain a little bit about this in a minute. The navigator is gonna assist you with the following. They're gonna collect information and assign you. When somebody meets with a career navigator, it's gonna be an initial assessment to see where you're at. And then they're gonna create a plan with you. And it's gonna be a assessment in your skills. And this is with the purpose to develop a plan that's gonna fit your needs. This is very important, and it's why it's very important to meet with a career navigator, because they have a series of tools that can help anybody to just feed their needs in the right way. some of the services that they're gonna provide is a resume that will, this is very important, the resume review, because many of the participants that we have at WorkOne, they come with a question. You know, I submit so many resumes and I never get a call back. So the Career Navigator is gonna help you to build a resume that is gonna help to pass the filters that a computer system have. So that is very important. So they're gonna help you with that. They're gonna help you with mock interviews. You know, what and how to say your skills, how to present the experience that you have. And also, they're gonna help you with job leads and referrals. Something important to mention is that it's gonna be coming up again, something that we call Wednesdays at WorkOne, where many employers come in and, you know, they are ready to hire, and, you know, they're gonna be there in the WorkOne facility at the 4410 Shayland Avenue. So that is very important. And I'm gonna share more information about that in a minute. The Career Navigator is also gonna help you with referral sources and follow-up services. Something I like a lot is that the follow-up services can help you to be successful in your job. It's not just to find you a job. They're gonna follow up to a year after you get employed. And the reason is if let's say that they help you to find employment and it's not working out in the next 3 months. So you talk to them and they're gonna revisit what's going on, what lack of skills or what needs to be improved, and they're gonna help you until they ensure that you are successful in the job. So that is something important that I like a lot in the services that we provide, because it's not just to find a job and let you be. So it's to ensure that you are successful in your career. Some of the services and job tools that we have is Indiana Career Connect. Indiana Career Connect is a job search statewide. So you can, and all the participants go in there and find for jobs, upload their resumes and receive leads from the website. So that's very important. Work readiness reference, a checklist to help you to get ready for it. Job scan, very important tool, because with this tool, after you build your resume, you can upload your resume to job scan. And this kind of application gonna help you to find out if your resume is gonna be ready for employers. And it's gonna be ready to be reviewed by kind of like computer systems. So that is very, very neat. Torque is a web application that empowers job seekers to take on needs and new jobs and career paths for skill-based hiring. It's gonna be kind of assessment to see where you are good at it. And then from there, they can help you and give you leads specifically from the results that you're gonna get from the assessment on Torque. Let's say that you are good for an office job. So because your data is in the system, Torque is unique because it's gonna pull jobs for 3 main kind of like a job search engines, which is Indeed, Career Builder, the most important ones per se, and they're gonna give you leads just target to the job skills that you have. Star also is very, very good because they're gonna give you tips in this application, how to prepare for an interview. So that's gonna be very good tool as well. The Kickstart Your Career. So you're gonna get support from a Career Navigator. You're gonna get job search tools and tips. You know, we have computers available for your job search in the WorkOne office. We have virtual trainings and professional development webinars. So that is something that we can offer at the WorkOne office. So it's a lot of good services that anybody can receive. Now, WorkOne also have workshops. Right now, we offer virtually, due to the COVID-19, the following workshops. This is how we do it. Information on services available on WorkOne Indy. let's get it started. That is kind of explore job search options for you. For some people, one technique don't work. For other people, it does. So it's what it's about. Let's get it started. Explore the job search options that you have. What is your story? It's best practices and tips for interviewing. They're gonna help you with the best tips. Right now, that is the trend. They're gonna help you with mock interviews, and they really gonna get you ready when you go to the real interview. You got skills. It's the same as we were talking before, is to develop a great resume. They're gonna provide you with a good template that fit the needs of your kind of resume. If your resume is oriented to customer service, if your resume is oriented to be an engineer, to medical field, IT field, so they're gonna help you with that kind of skills. Career skills, that identify skills that make you valuable to an employer. They're gonna help you to bring the best in your experience and what you are good at it, so you can present those skills to the employer, so you can make yourself more marketable. So that is a really good workshop I recommend to everybody. And the other virtual is taken to the max. Use social media and professional development tools. You know, this is kind of like networking. It's kind of like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of the most kind of successful tools right now for many people. So they're gonna help you how to navigate through those websites and how to use those media tools that you have available. Now, in person, right now, due to the COVID-19, we have limited seating, and you can attend this on person kind of workshops by going to www.workoindy.org and register for this kind of workshops. Right now, due to the COVID-19, you know, we have limited seats for workplace assessments, which is a measurement for workplace skills that is used basically by unions and employers. TAPE assessments. And the two workshops that they are presenting face-to-face is computer basics. We have a lot of folks in the community that they like, or they would like to learn how to use a computer. So this class is for them. It's an introductory class to computers, the internet and email and things like that. And the TORC tool to build a career plan by identifying how your experience translates to the new job opportunities. So there are very good workshops that we have going on, and anybody can participate from them. Adult education and job training. This is another good resource that we have at WorkOne. We can provide help and assistance to people that, for example, somebody was dropped out from high school and they want to go back and finish their education. So we have finished high school. We have classes at the WorkOne office, and usually I Monday through Thursday from 9 to 12. So anybody can come and sign up, and they're gonna get you ready to take your test and just to get your high school equivalence diploma. Somebody wants to learn the language, English, they have classes for that. So that is something important that they can assist you with. And this is very awesome because we have veteran services. The veteran services that we have at WorkOne is split into two categories. One is we have something we call DVOPS. It stands for Disabled Veterans Outreach Program. And other one is LEVERS, is Local Veterans Employment Representatives. So this is something very, very, very good because a lot of the veterans in our community don't have knowledge of the services that they can receive at the WorkOne. They can get career readiness coaching, translate military training into civilian skills. You know, that is something important because sometimes they don't know how to translate those skills that they learn while in the military to present them for a job that they would like to pursue. Match employment and training programs. They're gonna have the opportunity to develop their skills to the next level through training programs, outreach activities like a gathering together for support and connection to the VA and other resources and benefits that they have. Now, it's very easy to call of somebody at the WorkOne office. You can call to the number 317-798-0335 and ask to speak with a career navigator in case you are interested in receive assistance or training. Or you can email to questions@workoneindy.org and you can request to meet with a career navigator or simply just stop by. You're always welcome to come over. 4410 North Shaylin Avenue, Indianapolis, Indiana. Just to show you a little bit is, let me see here. This is the website. This is the face of WorkOne website. So when you're in the main page, you just come down to the bottom and you can see the incoming events. You can see the calendar for all the activities that we have, career resources and locations. Now, regarding the locations, we have embedded places all over the city, but due to the COVID-19, some of these services are on hold. But you can come here and see in the map all the places that you can find a career navigator in your own community and your own place. As you can see right there, is all these marked sites are for the services that we provide. So please just go to workoneindy.org and just go and check it out. You're gonna see so much resources that you can see. And with this, I just would like to pass the time back to Angie or to Jennifer.
Just real quick, I just noticed I went to workone.org and that's actually not right. It's workone.com.
You can work with both.
Oh, really? Okay, maybe just depends on the browser. Okay.
WorkOneIndy.com.
You can put the, like right there in the job search and in the search bar says WorkOneIndy.com and it's gonna take you here and you can see a lot of resources and employability skills that you need. If you go to employability skills, you're gonna have so many videos that you can see, up to 18 videos that you can see here, or 15 videos in different sections, and it's gonna be a good help. Now, for those folks that don't have kind of the skills for the language, it's not a problem. If you see here in the bottom right, you see the word English, but if you click in there, you can go to the Spanish version and they can see all this information in Spanish.
Hey, Raul, it's Jennifer here. And we're unable to see the actual website. We're still seeing your PowerPoint.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I thought that I was sharing with that, but
yeah.
But if you go to workone.com, you will be able to see all this information. So I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna pass the time back to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer and Raul, for sharing the information on Employ Indy as well as WorkOne. We're now going to turn it over to David Plasterer so he can tell you a little bit about fathers and families and what they do to help keep people employed or get them employed.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being a part of the MidNorth project. I think it's a really great project that's certainly been helpful for my family, and I think we're in a really great neighborhood and lucky to have folks like Angie and Angelina and everyone working on this project at Children's Museum. So definitely thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me to share tonight about Fathers and Family Center. And so we're right here in the MidNorth area as well. And we're actually just about half a block south of the Children's Museum. And as the name would lead you to believe, it is a fatherhood program, and so we focus on fatherhood as a means of strengthening families. And so, we work with a lot of dads just to help them get re-engaged with their families. And they're typically a variety of barriers, including employment, that we seek to address. But we also have counseling services, relationship counseling, and substance abuse and anger management counseling. And the main the kind of flagship program is the Strong Fathers program. And so that's a 3-week program, and you'll go through a variety of classes during that time that have to do with your role as a father, your role in your family, your role in your community. We talk about civic responsibilities, and your responsibility, because we view the community as a family as well, right? And so as much as we all need to contribute within our own families, we also need to contribute in our communities. And so those are some of the values that we really try to. Sorry guys, hey sweetie, will you please go show that to mommy? I know. You better go show mommy, get Band-Aid, please. Okay. I think mommy's in the backyard. You go see mommy, please. Mm-hmm. Okay. Edith has a little boo-boo. She'll live though.
It's perfect that you're talking about fathers, and then you had to be a father in the middle of your presentation.
That was, I thought that too.
So yeah, but there is a lot of negative outcomes that come from not having an engaged father in the family. And so and so my piece of that is to help folks think about their career path and think about finding a way that they can contribute to their families economically, and to do so hopefully in a way that's fulfilling. And so that's where I always start my conversations with folks, is from a place of aspiration. And so I think it's important that anyone that may be looking for a job in this room, to know that you're worth it, and you're worth getting paid an amount of money that can care for yourself and your family, and that I would be here to help you with that, right? To find that path, because something and actually just an example from today, I was talking with someone, and he had done some work as a security guard and some work in restaurants, and I said, what, speaking aspirationally, like what do you really want to do? Like, if you could kind of do anything, and he said, well, I'd really like to drive a forklift. And, and we have forklift training as a part of our Strong Fathers program. And, I told him I could get him into the next training session. But, I just kind of urged him. I was like, is that really what you want to do? Is that really kind of like your end goal, or is that just what you think is possible? Because there's a lot of possibilities, even for folks that have criminal backgrounds or lack of education. There's a lot of different ways to get into gainful and meaningful employment. And so I would just encourage anyone that's looking for a job, don't feel like you have to settle. I mean, if you have to take a job, you have to take a job, right? We all got bills, and so it is what it is. But there's a lot of ways to put yourself on a path that will lead towards a career one day. And so, despite the fact that we are a fatherhood program, we do offer services to any women that are connected with the men, because it is all about the families, right? And so whether it's their significant other or the mother of their child, or even the sister or mother, we have woman-to-woman classes where they're able to get together and talk about, as actually I was in a presentation with Miss Patsy today, who does our woman to woman class, and she termed it as woman issues. She said, we talk about women issues, we get it all out there. And so, it's a really great program. Real happy to be right here in the neighborhood. And I don't know how much time I had, but I would love to just open up to any of the MidNorth families if you had any direct questions about your career path that I could answer. I'd be happy to, only if there's time. So.
Mm-hmm. Hey, David, could you put your information in the chat if someone wanted to contact you?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So now we'll introduce Mary Vale. Mary Vale is the recruiter at the Children's Museum. She actually was the first person I talked to when I got hired on at the Children's Museum. So she's great at what she does, and we'll let Mary take the show.
Hi, everyone. I'm the Talent Acquisition Manager for the Children's Museum. A little bit about myself and my role and what I do. I oversee all the staffing and sourcing and recruiting efforts for the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. I partner with all the hiring managers within the museum to proactively develop and execute appropriate recruiting and sourcing and hiring strategies to fill all open positions within the museum. So how does that benefit you? That makes me kind of knowledgeable on the hiring aspect, on working with hiring managers, because I work with them from the beginning. I screen applicants, basically the gatekeeper, to help them find who exactly they're looking for, and also understand what they're looking for in responses for their hiring needs, for interviews. How is that all correlated and conducted? And beyond the museum, I also am, I volunteer as an ally for #HireBlack. Starting May this year. It's a new program that's a national program that helps individuals of diversity with resume building and any career advice that they may need. I helped out a number of people with building their resumes to attract and assist them with their career goals. I have over about 8 years of experience with recruiting, and am available as a resource to help you with your resume if you would like to. If you're interested in me reviewing your resume, you can definitely reach out to Angela or Kelsey to help out with, let them know that you are interested. I definitely am used to doctoring resumes, helping out with that, because I know the ins and outs and what they're looking for. I think the biggest common question that I receive in this program is especially like, how do you deal with gaps? How do you deal with being at a job short period of time? And should I even put that on? And that's a really big common question that I receive, especially when you're out there looking for a job. And due to COVID-19, it has caused a lot of unknowns. You may have loved your job before and impacted by this and experience a layoff or let go of some sort. It's okay. Never think of that as a way of saying I'm not good enough. Think of it as I'm looking for a new opportunity that will better suit my needs and what I want in life. Obviously, you want to look for a place that you feel welcome and involved, and that's really important. And how do you even get there? I think Jennifer and David and Roa just basically provided great resources to use. I'm also intrigued. I'm taking notes because I take it very, how do I say it? We are very involved in the community, and we like to be. And it doesn't only just end with the program. I want to help people make a difference in their lives, and that's valuable to me. So I want to encourage you guys to reach out to these resources, whether it's myself, Jennifer, David. it'll be great to help you get where you want to be, not where you have to be, if that makes sense. Any questions?
So if you guys have any questions for our panel, either Jennifer, Raul, Mary, or David, it's a good time to ask those questions now. Again, as Mary mentioned, she is willing to look at resumes and cover letters and help you with that, but you will have to do that through Kelsey or I. Just let us know and we'll kind of be the bridge between you and Mary. The same thing with Jennifer and Raul and David, although you have their information. If you'd like to contact them and you're having trouble, please let us know and we can stay in touch with them for you as well. But we'll open it up for questions now. I think there was a question in the chat. So for Mary, as far as her contact information, Desiree, just reach out to Kelsey so that Kelsey can be the bridge between you and Mary, and she'll get in contact with her for you.
Yeah, I would love to talk to you, connect. Any way I can help out, I'm definitely make myself available. It's definitely uncomfortable to say, hey, I need help, but I promise it'll play out in the long run. We're all here to help. And our reward is to help you find something that makes you happy, whatever that may be. That's what we like to do.
Hey, Mary, this is Diane Montgomery.
Hi, Diane.
Hi, I have been talking to Kelsey about this. I retired, it'll be 3 years ago, did an early retirement from Lilly. I'm interested, I'm right now doing part-time work, but full-time when school is in session at the bookstore at Barnes & Noble at IB Tech. But I'm kind of wanting to get back into meaningful, I guess, so to speak, get back into the workforce. So I don't know, maybe my resume needs to be tweaked, and I would love for you to look at it. Or I don't know if putting down retired, if that's like, people look at it as me, and I know it's age discrimination, if people are not willing to look at my resume because of that. So I was just curious how that works and how employers view that.
I definitely look at that. I'm experienced enough to say, hey, this person worked at a number of years and then taking a step back and working in a part-time job that may not even align to what they did in the past. And that's okay. I'm sitting there and somebody could look at that and be like, why did they take a step back? An experienced recruiter hopefully will say, they took a step back because probably the workload was higher. So I always like to screen those applicants. Why did they apply to this job? And sometimes they're like, I just want something that doesn't have the same responsibility. As far as resumes, it's okay to say retired. I think that is appropriate to say in the objectives line, a retired, this is my profession, because that kind of keys into where you are professionally, or you're looking to go back into what you did before. It really, the objective lines, that cover letter can tell your story on what you have done in the past and what your goals are. Jennifer or David, if you want to kind of add additional thoughts to what I stated.
Yeah, do you mind if I chime in? And I think it was Diane.
Yes.
Correct, sorry.
Yeah.
That's a great question. One thing that I often tell job seekers, and I'm sure that Mary and David and Raul, we probably all say the same thing, but maybe use a different phrase, but I heard it shared this way, and I love it. Anytime that an employer posts a position, they have a pain point. So they're not posting a position just for the fun of it. They have a pain point that needs to be addressed. They need someone to address that pain point. If the job seeker can share about themselves, their experiences, their qualifications, their accomplishments, I really love to see accomplishments instead of like job duties, kind of what they accomplished in a role. and address the pain point at that employer, they'll really stand out above the rest of the pack, because a lot of job seekers that I see, I do our internal hiring for Employee Indy, and so a lot of people that I see apply often do not address the particular position to which they're applying and the pain point of Employee Indy has this position opened, and so we need someone to do this job. Why are you excited about these job responsibilities? So I like to see that. Is that helpful a little bit?
That is, it is. Thank you.
I think you make a great point, Jennifer. I think a lot of the times that people list out the responsibilities that they had in the role, but really, how did they make a difference? And what pain points did they overcome?
Yeah. It's so easy to list responsibilities. It takes a little bit more time to craft some really good bullet points. A few questions that are helpful that I've personally found helpful when I've updated my resume, because it's kind of a drag. Like it's even a drag for us that work in it, is I try to think, okay, what did I do? How did I do it? What were some hard skills I used? What were some soft skills that I used? And then what was the result of that? And I found that those questions, they're not perfect, but they really help me kind of transition from a responsibility focused resume to a resume that focuses on what I've accomplished. And it kind of makes it a little less scary to have a few questions to like trigger it like in your mind a little.
I think that's great. I think that's a great point. But then what about the thing I question, because a lot of the individuals could have experience just basically, I done cashier experience, I done warehouse experience. I live in a warehouse district, so I see this a lot. How do they highlight those pain points and what they accomplished if their job is just basically, this is my job responsibility and that's what I've been taught to just do. This is what I'm doing.
Sorry, so is that
yeah, that's directed towards you, Jennifer. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I didn't know. So yeah, and I apologize. I don't think I addressed pain point clearly. I love to see when job seekers address like my pain point as a recruiter. So for example, let's say I'm getting ready to post a position of a youth program manager. I'm posting that position because Employee Indy has an example, but Employee Indy has a pain point and we're in desperate need of a youth program manager. So in that particular case, I would love for the applicant to tell me why they're interested in working with youth, any experience that they've had with youth, any experience they've had managing a program. So that's a great example for transferable skills. There's a lot of programs geared towards youth, but there's also programs geared towards inventory and procurement management, a wide range, I guess what I'm trying to say. I don't want to go off on a tangent. So I love seeing transferable skills. Let's say an applicant wasn't a youth program manager, but they have a desire to work with youth and they have some experience managing program, a project, policies, procedures. If they can kind of marry those two throughout their resume, that's a key for me.
I think that's a great point. That is a great point. I didn't think about the transferable skills. That is important to address. I think that's great point, Jennifer, because there's been times that you may see a job and an applicant may see a job and say, I never done this before. Yeah. How do I even get there? And you do have transferable skills no matter what job you go to. Customer service is a big one. That could have transferable skills. So I think as candidates are looking at jobs, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, and one other thing is that sometimes Google can be your friend. We've seen a lot of local, our friends and neighbors that are working in the hospitality, travel, tourism, the aviation industry, that have been laid off because of the pandemic. We know those are some pretty hard hit industries. And those positions have such wonderful transferable skills of customer service, time management, program management, also dealing with conflict. We know that there can often be conflict with maybe hotel guests or checking in people at the airport. But those are some great transferable skills that could really transfer from perhaps the travel or hospitality, hotel, restaurant industries to a different industry.
Thank you.
We're right. It's 6:57. Did someone else have a question? So there is going to be a poll at the end of our session. We ask you to kind of answer the questions in the poll to give us some feedback on tonight's workshop. If you missed any or all of the workshop, or you came in at the end, Angelina has been recording it, and she'll share the recording out to everybody so that you can watch it in its entirety later. Also want to encourage everybody, if you have any questions, to reach out to Kelsey or I so that we can connect you to the people on our panel. I've been answering some questions in the chat privately because I'd love to connect, especially the men that are on the call, or the women who were asking questions for the men, to David at Fathers and Families or Raul at WorkOne. So again, I want to thank our panelists, Jennifer, Raul, David, and Mary, for joining us this evening. And as a reminder, we have a part 2 of our September workshop next Thursday, which will be education during the pandemic based. So it's going to be all about returning to school during the pandemic, which I know is kind of fresh on everybody's minds if you have children. So we have a group of principals and a social worker on the call next week that will talk about what schools are doing to keep our kids safe. And if you have any questions or concerns or anxiety about e-learning, virtual learning, or returning to school in person. So same time, same channel, different day. So we'll hopefully see you guys all next Thursday. But does anybody have any final thoughts or questions? And our poll is up.
I did have one final comment, I guess, okay, about resumes. I thought that was a really good conversation, and I wanted to kind of broaden it out to kind of this bigger question of like, what should I include on my resume and what shouldn't I, right? And the answer to that question varies a lot depending on, you know, who you are and what your work experiences are. And I think that to get to kind of to part of at least, I think Diane's question, again, in kind of a broader way, is about like resume discrimination, right? Like if you're an older worker and you turn in this resume and it's obvious from your resume that you're maybe 65 or 70 years old, like, is someone going to look at that and not hire you? Well, the answer is yes, in some cases, right? But also there's a lot of kinds of discrimination that can happen based off your resume. And so, for instance, a lot of the men that I work with, you know, might have criminal backgrounds or come from quote unquote tough, rough parts of town. Right. And so like zip code discrimination is a very real thing, right? Someone might look and be like, oh man, I don't want to hire someone from that neighborhood. That's a crappy neighborhood. Right. And so on anyone's resume, you know, in modern day times, it's not like a job, an employer is going to send you a letter in the mail and be like, hey, we'd like to extend this offer of employment to you, you know, like for like a warehouse job, right? You're going to fill it online. You're going to put in your email and your resume, and it's all going to happen through email. And so, you know, I coach most of our guys on all the resumes I make, just say Indianapolis, Indiana. You know, it lets the employer know that you're eligible for work in Indianapolis, and it doesn't give them any more information than they need to have. And then even like if you've been in prison, if you've been incarcerated, you know, you don't have to put that I worked for the Indiana Department of Corrections, you know, because the people who do the laundry in Department of Corrections are Aramark. Right. And Aramark is a national company that does laundry services for all types of places. And so you can just put Aramark and say that you work from this time, you know, and it doesn't give the employer a reason to turn you down, you know, I mean, and so I just would caution anyone. So like for someone older, for instance, depending on your work history, maybe you only put your last 10 to 15 years of work history, right? Maybe on your high school, if high school diploma is your highest level of education, maybe you don't offer the year that you graduated high school, but just that you graduated high school, and then offer your last 15 years. Don't put your zip code on there, and it gives you a chance of kind of anonymizing yourself. Like, look, don't judge me based off of where I'm from, how old I am, what part of town I live in. Judge me based off of the work I've done. And if you have employment gaps, there's lots of interesting ways to fill those up. I use stay-at-home dad on a lot of resumes, and the case might be that the guy was on house arrest for 2 years and didn't work the whole time. But he was also at home taking care of his kids. And that's an important role that he fulfilled while the mom was going to work, right? And so it's not, oh, well, I was on house arrest, so I wasn't working. I was a stay-at-home dad during these 2 years. Stay-at-home dad's on my resume. That's what I was for 4 years before I worked at Fathers and Family Center. And so there's nothing shameful about that in today's society. And so
no, I agree, David.
Yeah.
I tell moms, they're like, I was a stay-at-home mom for 4 years. What do I put on it? Yes, that's a full-time job. I don't know if you ever been a stay-at-home parent. That is hard, and I got to give a lot of respect for all those stay-at-home moms and stay-at-home dads. I remember I hired somebody who was a stay-at-home dad, and I was like, what have you been doing for 4 years? He goes, I had the pleasure to raise 2 beautiful girls. And he was a proud dad. And I have to say, his work ethic and his work were top notch. And so I would highly recommend, if you stayed at home for a period of time, to put that on a resume. It's okay. And I do have to say, being a mom myself, I am a proud parent. And I love how dads have flipped the script, shall we say, and are staying at home with their little ones as well. So yeah, if you were a stay-at-home parent for a little bit, put that on the resume. I like how you mentioned that, David.
Also, you don't mind me to say, please come to WorkOne. We have the tools, the people, and resources for you to accomplish those things. For example, talking about resumes, many times we ask the question, why you send a resume to a company? And usually people says to get a job, right? And we teach them that mainly a resume is to get an interview, the opportunity to interview and show your skills. And from there we build up in an interview. Sometimes we don't know how to negotiate on a salary base, They say, what is your salary range? And sometimes we get stuck in there. So we have the career navigators that are gonna help you to know how to negotiate your interview. In my career, I noticed that there are just 3 basic things I learned the employers looking for. One is if you can do the job. Second is if you have the skills for the job. And the third is if they can afford you. And if you can pass those 3 things, basically you're gonna have a great advantage and opportunity to land in the job that you want to. So please come to WorkOne. We can help you. We have the resources, we have the knowledge, we have the experience, and we have the people that gladly gonna help you to get to the next level.
All right, thank you, Raul. And with that, we're gonna say good evening, and again, encourage you guys to join us next week. And thank you to our panelists. If you have any questions, please reach out to Kelsey or I, and we'll be glad to make the connection for you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Angie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.